The federal judge deciding whether to unseal the affidavit in the unprecedented search of Mar-a-Lago appeared to stake out the middle ground yesterday, saying he is inclined to unseal that affidavit. Magistrate Judge Bruce Reinhart gave the Justice Department until next Thursday to submit redactions. In a written ruling, the judge said, quote, "The government has not met its burden of showing that the entire affidavit should remain sealed." The judge said he would review the proposed redactions and then decide if he agrees with them. He did not give a timeline beyond next Thursday, saying, quote, "This is going to be a considered, careful process." The government argued against unsealing the affidavit, claiming it would jeopardize its investigation and because it contains, quote, "substantial grand jury information with national security overtones." The Justice Department also indicated for the first time yesterday that more than one person inside Trump's orbit could be working with the government, stating, quote, "The court is aware of what several witnesses said. Only certain people would have that knowledge." Trump again yesterday called for the full affidavit to be released without redactions, but his legal team did not file anything in the case or even participate in the hearing. One of his attorneys, Christina Bobb, was in court but said she was just there to watch. She was pressed about that last night on Fox News.
I'm wondering, are you not concerned that because you didn't join any of these motions for, again, the full release of this affidavit, that you're then waiving possible objections to the way redactions are being done by the Justice Department later on? Because you didn't speak in court today, nor did you join any of these motions. They're going to redact all this stuff. And I'm not sure what grounds you're going to have at this point, having waived your right to file those motions.
Well, we would maintain that we haven't waived our right and that still is maintained. You know, we need to wait and see. I can't be certain at this point because we haven't seen the affidavit and we certainly haven't seen the redactions and how it's going to play out. But, you know, we'll be making that decision as it comes out. We got to see it. We haven't seen it. It has been under seal. So I don't know. We can't say.
So, Joe, Donald Trump's attorneys were literally silent in court yesterday.
What is that?
Literally.
What is that? What is that? You know what that is? You know, poor Laura Ingraham is like a T-ball coach. And says, okay, you get the bat, and what you do is you don't go, you swing through like that, and you want, like, it's every night. Laura's having to go, okay, so you know if you don't object to that, you may waive your right to the objections for the... And what was it the other day that she was, I forget what she was saying, but every night this lawyer comes on. And it's just, it's crazy. I mean, oh yeah, and then they're talking about leaking the names. But George, maybe there is some sanity in this madness. I'm going to talk to David Ignatius in a second about this, but he's been doing reporting, and chances are good that while they would like to know the names of now possibly two people inside calling, you know, the call coming in from inside the house, maybe there are two people now inside of Mar-a-Lago or inside of Trump World informing on him. David Ignatius has done reporting this week and has been looking and thinking contents probably really bad. And it's something that Trump people don't really... Donald Trump will do what Rudy does outside of courtrooms and howl and make a scene. But go inside that courtroom and stay silent because...
Absolutely.
What Republicans in Washington, D.C. know, and I had friends tell me a couple days ago, it's one of the reasons this IRS conspiracy theory started, is when they figured out how bad this is going to be for Trump, they're trying to change the subject.
They're trying to have it three ways. Okay, they're being mendaciously three-faced about it. First of all, they themselves would like to see the affidavit because, you know, Tony Soprano wants to know if Pussy Pampensero is the rat, and they want to see who's thinking on them. That's one. Two is they don't want us to see the affidavit because it's bad. Okay, it's a long affidavit, and it's going to have a lot of information about a lot of people saying a lot of bad things about the bad things that the former president of the United States did, and how he squirreled away these documents and refused to give them back when he was repeatedly told he had to give them back and was subpoenaed to return them. And then third, they want an issue. a BS issue so they can send out their fundraising grift emails to raise money and say, oh, they're hiding the affidavit from us. So those are the three things that are going on. And so actually, there is a method to this madness. It's all very dishonest and disgraceful, but that's that's par for the course.
David Ignatius, dishonest and disgraceful, not the first time those words have been used to describe Trump world and their handling of things like this. As Joe just hinted, you've been doing some reporting around the issue. Give us what you've learned and what is the current state of the investigation.
So, Jonathan, simply put, the government's affidavit is, by its own description, so detailed, so full of the evidence that they've got, that they're pursuing, that they're arguing as strenuous as they can. None of this can be disclosed. This is a roadmap to our future investigation. The fact that it's being led by the head of counterintelligence prosecutions at the Justice Department should tell us something. This is the most serious kind of prosecution. One of the statutes that was invoked before the judge to get the search warrant was the Espionage Act. We don't know what that means. What we do know is that this is at a level of seriousness beyond anything that I've watched in terms of Trump investigations. Where is this going? There'll be a battle next week over whether any of this affidavit can be shown to the public. That the Judge Reinhart, says he thinks he can come up with a version. If you read the Justice Department pleadings, they say there is nothing beyond when you redact all the crucial information. There's nothing left here. It's so rich with detail that might compromise their investigation. The thing that's become clearest to me in my reporting is that this is about classified material that Trump took to Mar-a-Lago that is beyond any of the things that have been stated, asserted about Russiagate. This is about secrets that are so sensitive that their disclosure in government parlance could cause grave harm to the United States. And there's reason to believe that the Trump team simply wasn't honest about what they had. So the next chapter of this, however much the Trump, bashed the IRS people are excited about it, I don't think is going to have, I think it's going to turn off more people than it excites.
It's going to be more shock.
Yeah, I mean, in order to have an impact, certainly in Trump world, but even with people who may have voted for Trump or are now a little bit fed up with him, the findings that the FBI took out of Mar-a-Lago, I think, would have to be enormous, because what you're hearing from people who support Donald Trump at the moment is January the 6th, Blair didn't even really listen to it. All of this is just one more investigation. And I think it gets kind of lost in a jumble of investigations that they don't really care about, because that is all of the deep state trying to get their guy. It seems to me politically in November, Michael, the stuff that is almost more important is what Joe was talking about. It's this ginning up of violence against FBI agents. It's the extremism, perhaps, of Roe v. Wade. It's that is moving people politically, because they're not really tuning in to the nitty-gritty. The January the 6th hearings have been masterful as a class in narrative building, but I'm not sure how much they're tuning into that or into the details of investigations.
Yeah.
And the Mar-a-Lago stuff, if it's not super explosive, what the FBI has found, it will just be seen as government overreach.
Yeah, I can
in attacking their guy.
I'll agree with some of that up to a point. I will push back a little bit on how the American people are digesting this. I think people have paid a lot more attention to this than we may realize in the end. I think it's reflective in where we're seeing, to Joe's point about the importance of the Senate, the nervousness of Mitch McConnell. Their internal numbers are showing an enormous weakness in races that they should be winning, not just in the Senate, but in the House as well. The House was, oh yeah, we got a red wave coming. It's now it's like, well, if we get a good sprinkler system that can just shoot in some targeted areas, we'll win. So I'm not sure that the American people, I think I'm more sure the American people have paid more attention to a lot of this. The other thing that's very interesting, and it goes to what David touches on, and certainly what George has laid out, is how does suburbia take all this in at the end? And this is not a good narrative for a lot of suburban voters out there.